What's up and welcome to my guitar channel. For anyone who's watched my videos before, you'd know that my production level is not good. This is something that I've wanted to address for quite a while, but without getting a direct teacher, which of course would cost a lot of money and take a long time, I kind of haven't known where to start. Slowly I started watching YouTube videos and trying to get an idea of what I might be doing right and wrong, and over time get better. But this process has been extremely slow and it has not yet been effective. I started noticing that there were different courses available that would address exactly this, and I started taking an active interest in that, to the point where I bought a year-long subscription to Warren Hewitt's Produce Like a Pro. Quite honestly, with that one, I opened it a few times, I couldn't quite figure it out, and I never opened it again, so that was really just a waste of money for me. However, relatively recently, I stumbled across URM Academy, and I decided that I'd try and give this a proper exploration. Now, URM is focused specifically on metal production, so if you're looking at it to try and get a pop understanding, it will help you, it will get you in the right direction, but the focus is in the wrong place. Now, the brilliant thing about URM, and made it an easy decision, is that it's $1 to try. I don't remember that with Produce Like a Pro, I just remember having to buy it to be able to get access to apparently a great community. With this one, I could actually test the water and it didn't cost me anything. It was a no-brainer, because I'd know very quickly if I was ever going to use it and want to spend the full year's worth of subscription. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is the interface, the content, and give you a hands-on look to what it's like inside. In addition to that, I'm going to discuss some things that I really like about it and some things that I really don't like about it. So let's dive right in and have a look. So here we are at the login page. Click login, pretty straightforward really. And here we are, we've got essentially up the top, this is just a little current error that they're facing. So that won't be there most of the time. Here are some quick links that they suggest you look at. Here, along here is Nail the Mix. Then there's the fast track, mix rescues, some other supplementary material. And then down the bottom, this is paid content. So this is extra on top of what you're already paying to get something specific, like maybe the ultimate drum production course or the ultimate guitar production, speed mixing, you get the idea. Those are in addition to. There are two levels with URM. So there's URM Enhanced and Basic, I guess. The only difference, I think, is that the Basic does not have fast track or mix rescue. Now I'll go into what those are in detail a little later on, but the Basic is definitely missing those two. So with these quick links that are up the top, I don't really understand why it's here, and I pretty much ignore them, because this video in the middle here, it is a YouTube video, so I can just get that easily. I have never clicked on the one-on-one box. I've never clicked on the Roctagon. I've never clicked on this specific fast track, even though I know it's a fast track. So it just kind of feels like it's a bit irrelevant to me. And then of course in the corner, it's trying to sell me something. So I'm not sure why that's there and why I can't get rid of that, but this is just one of the things that we're dealing with. I usually jump straight into the Nail the Mix or the fast track or the mix rescue. So let's just get straight into Nail the Mix. Basically, you can access one of the most recent ones from here. By clicking the Get Started on the thing. The hitbox doesn't work, like I can click anywhere, but the only thing that'll actually get me to it is by hitting Get Started, or you hit Nail the Mix in the top corner, and that will get you where you need to go. So this is what it looks like. Of course, you can filter it by genre or whatever you want to do, but essentially it's just what songs, what options. So this one, for example, it's by Sam. Why did I choose someone with an impossible name? Sam someone or other, Silverstein, Burn It Down. If you know that song, you love that song, you want to mix that song, $15 away and you've got it. There are also prizes that you can win for the mix, and you will get to unlock a couple of these for free. But let's have a look inside. So here's the amount of month. To explain this, the best way to do it is to start with the schedule. So at the start of the month, they upload all the files and tell you what you're mixing. By the 15th of June, they had a question and answer with Jens Bogren. By the 21st, you had to submit your mixes. On the 24th, the best mixes were selected, and then it went to a vote. And on the vote, it's actually the users that choose who they think the best mix is. And then on the 30th, there's the actual mix by Jens Bogren. Now, this is all pretty straightforward. Because this has already happened, you can watch the Q&A, it's one click away. You can watch the mix, it's one click away. Listen to the song. I mean, the song's already on Spotify and YouTube and whatever else. Download the files. Ask questions. Now this sends you to the Facebook group, and if you need a mix crit, if you can't figure out what you're doing wrong consistently, you can purchase tuition through this link. There is also a way to get a free one-on-one session, but you need to, it's first in best dressed, and I live in Australia, so it always comes up right in the middle of the night for me. In addition to that, it goes down to session info, where it just tells you a bit about it. This, to me, is the most useful piece of information, followed by this one, because it really helps if you're trying to edit something specifically or a certain section, if you've got the actual BPM. Here, of course, is a bit of information about Jens Bogren himself. Here's Jens's mix notes. Now, this is really, really useful because we get to see what Jens was intending to do with the song, what challenges he came up to with this song, a little bit of trivia about the song, and some information that may help you ease the mixing process. But that's essentially it. As soon as you mix, you chuck it into a little box that's up here. Of course, my mix did not make it this month because I am not good enough, so I need to keep working. There's like a top 40 people. It says top 20, but there's 2 different categories. And then they said that there's something like 500 people that normally submit. So if you're in the top 40, then pretty much you're in the top 10%. And I would say that you're a pretty decent mixer by that point. All right, so, and for a slightly deeper look, and my first kind of complaint about the system is some of these, if we go into watch the mix, now I'm not allowed to show you any of the content really, but I'll show you, I'm just trying to show you the interface. What's not working here? Yeah, okay. So you see here, we've got timestamps all over, you know, so if, say we want to learn more about the bass, we can just type in bass and see wherever bass is listed on the timestamps, which there's only 3 points. So, you know, obviously that took place over, what, 10 minutes or something. Not too difficult. That's really useful. The problem is that some of these mixes have 0 timestamps. And as you can see with this Jens Bogren one, it's 8.5 hours long. So if you have no timestamps and you're looking for specific answers on bass or drums or whatever on a particular song, you have to go through all of the content. Here's me trying to sook about that, but you think about that. If you know exactly where it is, then you can get your answer really quickly. If you don't know where it is, then you've got to sort through 8 hours of content just to get an answer that might be a sentence long. In my opinion, that makes it really hard to work with. And I really like that some of these have timestamps, and I hate that some of them don't. So on to the next thing, fast tracks. Now these, I think, is worth its weight in gold. I am so happy that I went for URM Enhanced because these have helped immensely, and including the introduction to OBS with Nick Pilotta. It took me so long with OBS to try and set this up, and I failed and failed and failed, and I watched a very short video with Nick Pilotta, and it told me exactly how to set it up, what I needed to do, what everything meant, and now my setup's working. So that's really, really valuable, and you've got endless amounts of things in here. For example, drum tuning. If you don't know how to drum tune, you watch this, and even if you never drum tune in your life, at least you know what goes into it. There is just an endless amount of really, really, really useful stuff that goes in here, and they go into mega amounts of detail. And just to make myself clear here, I really think that this resource alone, the fast tracks, is worth double the price or whatever it is from just the regular Nail the Mix to the URM Enhanced. Well worth it. Next, let's move on to Mix Rescue. Mix Rescue is gold because they're taking students, so people like mine, who have a session and going, okay, here's what you're doing wrong. Here's 10 things that are going wrong with your guitar. You've tracked it poorly. You've got bad sounds. You've got a bad bass tone. You need new strings on your guitar. Your drums suck. On and on and on. They really break down what issues you're facing in your mix. You can submit your session and they do go over this. And some of these are actually quite long. Some are only an hour or so, but some of them are really long and detailed. And the brilliant thing about this is it shows you what other inexperienced people are doing. So you can learn from other people's mistakes. And if you're ever faced in a situation like that, you get the education as well. So this tool itself is actually also mega valuable. Like, I really can't believe the concept of this. It's just such a good idea, and it makes so much sense. Next, we'll look at MixLab, which is something that's available to everyone in URM. MixLab, I think that this is the only way to access this, and when I was preparing for this video, it took me like 3 minutes of like clicking around and scanning everywhere to try and find it. So I just do want to say that navigation is a bit of an issue, and I'll go into that a bit later. But MixLab is great. It's very, very simple. You know, if you want to learn more about bass, you click bass, and when it loads, you get all the short videos on bass, which is 7 of them. So it's like if your question can't be answered in those 7 videos, then of course you've still got endless content to go over with that, but it's just such a quick way to get a really good idea. So another thing that I find really, really useful is the Facebook group. It may seem simple for me to say that, but it's like, it is just such a useful place. The community is actually really, really active, and everyone seems to be trying to make sure that everyone else is learning in a very good, comfortable way. I've seen loads of things go on there, just like random questions, people having issues, people having successes. It's just like seems to be a very supportive, growth-focused community. In addition to that, you get discounts on certain plugins, and look, honestly, the list is actually quite large. There's so many different things that you get with this that I wasn't actually expecting. And I'm still finding it really cool and exciting when I find another aspect that I wasn't expecting or wasn't prepared for or whatever, because there just seems to be so many more things that they're adding in there that they're not really promising up front or something. I don't know. It's just really, really cool. So as you can see, I'm a little bit of a fangirl about this whole setup. I think that they've done an absolutely amazing job, and I'm really happy that I spent my money there. Now, I do not want to create a totally unbiased review because there are certain parts of it that really drive me up the wall. One thing that drives me nuts is I have to sign in every single time I do it, right? I've just closed the window. You've just seen me a minute ago playing around with it, but I still have to re-sign back in straight away. Why? My Facebook, my YouTube, my eBay doesn't make me re-sign in, and that has access to my personal information. This only has my email address, and yet the security's tighter. Doesn't make any sense. Not only this, but the hitboxes for this. If I want to go to the Nail the Mix, I can only click here or here. Nowhere else on any of these hitboxes can I go to that place. The Mix Lab, I think, is one of the most valuable parts of this thing. Once again, the only place I can get that is by going to the main screen and finding this little box here. Why is that not up the top? This suggested thing, this makes sense that it's here now, but I've had it multiple times where I've been watching one video, one fast track for like 4 hours, and then I come back in and it's suggesting a different one that I opened 3 days ago. It's like, why would I want to jump back into that one thing that I haven't looked at for 3 days when I've been studying something else for 4 hours? It just seems like such an odd system that isn't intuiting everything right, which leads me to ignore this. Now, I said that Mix Rescue and Mix Lab are brilliant. One thing that I don't like about it, that's in the fast track, so it can't be that hard to do, is these do not have a completed option. So it's like you either watch the video and you go back and you watch the video again and again and again and again and again. Equally with this Mix Rescue, there are, 52 of these, and they all look identical, right? There's, right here, we've got 3 from Joel Wanasek and 2 from Joey Sturges and 1 from EL. That means that I have to remember exactly which episode I'm looking for if I go into it and I'm trying to get, I'm trying to learn from this one video. Because what if it's 4 hours long? I'm not going to sit down and watch that all in one go. But I need to remember exactly which one I was watching because they don't have any title. Look how many Joel Wanaseks there are. Dozens. Absolutely dozens, right? And it's like, this needs some type of way that you can siphon out the stuff that you've already seen. Equally with the Mix Labs. Maybe Synth 101 Part 5, right? Maybe this is one that I want to keep referring to. But knowing that Synth 101, I've completed it, and this one's one that I like, making it different instead of all having the exact same logo, makes it so much easier for me to see what's going on. Now, one thing the Mix Lab and the Mix Rescue get right, but the Fast Tracks get wrong, is, in drumroll please, there is no way to sort this information. So, say for example, I don't want to see all the stuff that I've already completed because I've already completed it. I want to move on to new stuff. There's no way to get rid of that. Not only that, but their naming system kind of sucks. So if I type in here guitar because I want to learn about guitar tone, I've got low tuned guitars, which I feel that's more like that may be what I'm after. We've got recording metal guitars, which is probably a bit closer. We've got mixing prog rock bass guitar, which is totally not what I want. I don't want bass. And we've got guitar editing, which is definitely not what I want, right? So now I need to sift through this whole thing, which I've already started, and it's massive, very, very comprehensive, very good. But I need to sift through all of that information to see if that's got the answer that I'm looking for, and potentially going through this one, even if I don't want to do the low-tuned guitars, because I know that that's going to be specific to low-tuned guitars. However, because I have done this before, if I look for tone, the only one that has tone, this is Tone Building and Amp Simulators with Ryan Fluff. Now, this is specifically for guitar. but it doesn't say guitar in the title, so it's very easy to miss. And then on top of that, if you haven't completed this, like I've been through most of this course, this tone building one here, it still says enrolled. It looks no different from this one with Patchbase that I've never opened because I don't know anything about Patchbase, and I'll get into that one day, but not right now. But it looks no different. I might as well have never started either of these, and I can't tell that from the outside. This makes things just that much harder to kind of understand. You really need to keep track of what you have done and understand what the name is, or maybe remember the picture or something like that. But it's so easy for this information to get lost, and you work on something for ages and just not know where it was. I would really like it if it said not started, in progress, or completed, or you could simply filter stuff or search for stuff, like something that you've, like maybe some history thing where you look at the last 10 videos that you've looked through. Anything like that to help make it easier to actually navigate the system would be really, really, really welcome. Now, one thing that I think this program sorely needs more than anything else is quick reference PDFs. So there is entire fast tracks and plenty of information on compression, except if you've got a PDF that says, try a snare drum with a fast attack, try a snare drum with a slow attack, which sounds better and why, then straight away you've got a kind of rule to test and see which works. Right? And then no matter what answer you give, if it's got just a little bit of information saying that, slow attack does this to the sound, and it works more for these instruments and not so much for these instruments, but play around, then it's very easy to remember that. When you're looking at 4 hours of content and they go over this and this and this and this and this, it's easy to forget absolutely everything. So I think that having quick reference PDFs would be super, super useful for this platform. And not only that, different plugins. What are the preferred plugins of the people that are doing the mixes? What is an always go-to compressor for a snare? What is a go-to reverb for a female vocal or something like that? What distortion best suits this? And the problem with that is there are endless options, but if you can see that 10 different mixers who are all very, very high level are using the exact same plugin in the exact same way, why not put that down on a piece of paper? It means that you or me, who don't have any of these plugins, can spend $50 and know that we're getting something that is going to do the job, and the only thing that's the limitation is our skill. It's just such a simple way to do it, and yet it's just not an option. I don't know, it kind of confuses me once again. And as mentioned, there is plugin discounts, except I don't know where to find what plugins I have access to discounts to the point where I spent money on a plugin recently and found out the next day or that same day that I could have got a discount on it because people were complaining on the Facebook group that they had bought the plugin and then tried to retroactively get a discount, and they didn't. So this means that it's not easy to find where the discounts are. I still don't know how to use the discount system. I don't know where it is. Next time I'm going to buy a plugin, but I'm going to put it on the group first to try and figure it out. It should be so obvious that people can't make a mistake doing it. And the last thing I'm going to say is I do love the Facebook page, but they've got 3 different Facebook pages, right? And not only that, but they've got like sub pages within the pages, and it's just like this really confusing, huge system. I saw a whole bunch of people talking about Roctagon, and I'm like, what the hell is Roctagon? I figured that it was its own separate Facebook page, nothing to do with URM, but something that people were talking about and everyone was kind of using. I had a look. I couldn't find it on Facebook. I then saw someone post a link to it, so I was like, clicked on it and joined it and realized that it was another aspect of URM that I wasn't told about at some point. But it's like, I understand why they've got Roctagon separate, because it is kind of its own thing, and the main page is for just kind of general everything. Why can't a new user step in and have easy access to this? Why is there not just a whole bunch of links going like, join this Facebook group, this Facebook group, this Facebook group, get on Discord here, and it's just super easy. It just, I don't know why, but it's like, seems like no one has thought to set up the navigation process for the entire system. It's really weird. So after all that bitching, and I feel like I spent more time bitching about the product than I did actually about the good sides of the product, would I recommend it? Yes, absolutely. It costs $1 for a month trial. If this product is not right for you, you spend $1. In that month, you learn this product is not right for me. So you just simply don't purchase it. If you do find that it's worth it, or it may be worth it for you, then you purchase the rest of the year and you get into studying. Regardless of my gripes of the navigation or the systems or something like that that is inherent in the product, there is an endless amount of wealth in here, and you're looking at people who have been doing this for years, and they really know what they're doing, and they're discussing it as if you're an equal. So they're telling you why they're doing what they're doing and how they came up with the idea and what they're approaching and blah, 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 blah. And you just end up with a ridiculously good look at what is going on. So they'll say, you know, oh, these sound like old strings on this guitar. This, you know, amp sim sucks, or this drummer isn't very good. That's why we've got this sound. That's why we need to replace pretty much all of the drums. And that's massively valuable, because to someone like me, I'm like, oh, well, that's the guitar tone. It probably is good enough. Let's just try and fix it. And at the end, you're like, I don't know why it sounds like crap. It's because you had a crap guitar source to start with. There are some really famous songs on there. There's Is There Anybody Out There by Machine Head, or Redneck by Lamb of God. If you can take those and see how they're mixed, then you're going to learn a lot about how it's done. It's just such a valuable resource to do. I just wish that they fixed a few of the minor things, and then I would have zero problems with it. So I'm very happy to recommend this product, because it's $1 whole, and you know if you're going to like it or not. And I feel weird having to say this because my channel is so small, but if you think that I'm getting some type of kickback for this or whatever, no. It's just that I found a really great product, and I think that I need to do the service to you as my viewer to tell you about such a great product. So that is all from me this week. If you liked this, please consider leaving a subscribe and a comment and a like and whatever else you want to do, the nice YouTuber things. And I will see you next week with more stuff. Bye.